First of all, I'm not going to edit this video. I usually edit the video down because I know people got short attention spans. Sometimes I edit the video down because I may say a word or two that may come across as offensive, you know, trying to basically walk on eggshells with these YouTube guidelines, whatever. What comes out will come out, and what will be, will be. Alright, so if you're sensitive, if you are someone who ego trips, you can't handle a different point of view, a different perspective that challenges what you are most comfortable with, please, by all means, you're more than welcome to leave. If you are mature enough to handle, proceed. That's all I'm going to say. Alright, first of all, this video is inspired by Alberta Parrish. She does not know I'm doing this. I ordered this book, God is on Trial. I ordered this book from Amazon, and I must say I've read it. It's very well written, very thought-provoking, and she essentially talks about her experience being many years in Christianity, growing up in it, and things that she experienced and observed throughout her sojourn, and what she went through when she ultimately began to shake the God spell and began seeing the truth. And then she began doing in-depth research. She even gets into talking about the Anunnaki and the extraterrestrial influence and all of these Abrahamic organized religions. Now, you guys who've been with me for years, you know firsthand, I've talked about this a very long time ago. The reality, and it shall soon come out. Now, many of us are starting to break the spell, the hypnotic trance, and the spell of religion. All right? There's a difference between being connected to source and being connected to the soul, the spark of self, versus following the program, the spells, the belief, the mandate, the fear-mongering, and manipulation through other means, outside means. And these means have been passed down for generations. And there are always those soul brothers and soul sisters who break the spell and who will begin rebelling against the popular narrative. One of the reasons why I support our sister with work like this is because I'm very clear, and have always been very clear, that there are souls who come here, who incarnate to basically be system busters. Now, we come in with a rebellious spirit, and that also means that even if we are caught up in the web of mind program and manipulation, because of how we're made and where we come from and how our soul matrix is wired, we always break it. We always break those ties. We always break those spells. But until then, and I don't want to go too deep on this, but until then, we are always targeted in some kind of way by the dominant society, or those who work in the secret orders, or those who work in secret or are part of secret societies. We are always targeted, and let me tell you why. And Alberta touched on this. Being an outcast, being a misfit, never feeling like you belong. People always giving you a hard time, hating on you and mistreating you and wishing the worst for you, although you've never done anything wrong to them. But at the same time, here you're witnessing people all around you, all kinds of foul, and doing all manner of hypocrisy and destruction and lies and deceit, but they get love and embrace, and they are often the most trusted. This is how this grid has been orchestrated. This is how it's been set up. It was intentionally built this way. Here's why the souls, brothers and sisters who come in and begin seeing things for what they really are. Here's why we too are often made to feel like we're very inferior or we're less than. Because once we start internalizing these programs in this way of thinking, we lower our vibration. We get in our own way. And when we get in our own way, we shut off our connection to that true source, that real power, that ultimate power of source. This is how I can still get on camera after all these years and confidently speak about subject matters that people still think are crazy, even though much of what I've said over the years have come out to be factual. Before I even got on the internet, I would talk about things that was not the popular narrative, was not widely accepted, but every single person who has come up with me, been with me since I was a child, has seen plenty of evidence that I obviously am tapped in, and I'm obviously knowing of things that is truly beyond the average. And so, sisters and brothers like Alberta Parrish, again, God is on trial. It is a provocative, thought-provoking, very real and honest point of view regarding the gods of major religions or of Abrahamic religions, and why those of us who follow these belief systems should be asking the same kind of questions instead of just blindly accepting and following. Now, religion is one area. You have politics, you have the educational system, you have the spiritual systems, you have the, it goes on and on. All these systems have been infiltrated and have been greatly manipulated and are being used to socially engineer oppression mentally, physically, and psychologically. And so when we begin to break the oppression is when we begin to ask and challenge the popular narrative and ask the tough questions and make people comfortable in the process. Oh yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. I'm also an artist. We as artists are supposed to make people uncomfortable, because here's the thing, and again, I don't want to go too deep because this video is really about why I never accepted organized religion. And I'm going to try to stay on a surface level where the average person can see my point of view. But I cannot not consider the fact that I've always had one foot in this reality and another foot in the reality that those in power still do not want us consciously tapping into. But you best believe they're doing it, but they're on this side. They're on the quote-unquote dark, malicious, malevolent side of the coin. But in duality, you have a positive and negative. Then there are those of us who are on the positive side. These are the brothers and sisters. And when I say brothers and sisters, I'm talking about vibration. I'm talking about on a soul, spiritual level. Don't get caught up in this, all this black, white, male, female, gay, straight bullshit. I'm talking about knee-deep, skin-deep, soul energy, that part of us that is eternal. We come here to experience this reality and to bring higher information, higher frequency, and to challenge the popular narrative in our respective lanes. So, because of the nature of the job, it is very, very, very challenging, especially when you are young and you are brought up in a household where your parents and everyone around you is embracing these things and they're ultimately trying to force it on you, and you clearly see through it. And you, for some of us, we just go along to get along until we become old enough to say or speak differently, or we just rebel. Now, I love my mother very much. I have been very respectful to my mother. Now, some things I may have said and done may have come across disrespectfully from her perspective, but now that she's on the other side of the veil, she shed her ego and she's on the other side of the veil. She now gets exactly why I was the way I was. We got into a really, really heated argument at one time, or disagreement, because I've never cursed my mother, I never used profanity around my mother, but I respectfully and maturely expressed why I could not accept the Christian religion. And it's not just the Christian religion, there are others. Now, my mother began to wake up from this near her latter years. She had begun waking up, and but before then, she thought I was crazy. Even the part where our sister Alberta touched on the Anunnaki and the extraterrestrial influence. Again, and I've spoken about this in the past, the gods that many of us are worshiping and following are interdimensional extraterrestrial beings. They weren't the creator of all creations. And I'm very clear on that. However, you cannot make people see this. This is why you guys wonder, where's God? Why God ain't intervening? The true source does not take sides. The true power comes from within when we develop our own God mind and our own God power, and we begin activating and developing and bringing forth that part of self. That's when we begin to see it. But until then, the people must continue to burn and to learn. They must continue to burn and learn. No one intervenes. Things change and shit changes when the people wake up and tap into and unlock their own power and work together, meaning honoring the original covenant to be thy brothers and thy brother and sister's keeper. When we honor that covenant and get into that cohesive space, get on code and support one another, that's when you will see God, the ultimate source, the real Almighty, show up. So again, God is on trial. I am not being paid to promote this book. I see a light in this sister. This sister is definitely one of the most powerful, rebellious ones down here, and she's just getting started. And I see her light. I always see those of us who are here to shake some shit up. That's exactly why we are here. We go through the fire, we experience, and we begin revealing and pulling back and basically, in a nutshell, bring forth the ultimate truth. But again, we can't make the people see it. We plant the seeds, and then in the right time, even if it takes many other cycles, they will ultimately get it and wake up on a soul level, and then it begins to trickle, so on and so forth. So again, Alberta Parish, God is on trial. The book was only $13. Read it with your ego out of the way. Support brothers and sisters who are greatly being marginalized. Brothers and sisters who are not pushing and promoting the popular narrative. It is those brothers and sisters who have more keys, hint, more keys to the ultimate truth versus those who are being promoted and pushed by the system. Why would you guys keep trusting the very forces who are giving us these gods and these belief systems? Why are we still at this point trusting the very ones who are oppressing, misleading, and deceiving us? Why are we trusting their narratives and following the gods that they give to us? Rhetorical question. All right? Again, Alberta Parish, God is on trial. It's only $13. Support the sister. This is very well written and very, very good work. Now, with that out of the way, let me tell you, I'm not going to get into the spiritual side of why organized religion never resonated with me. Now, I believe I was about 5 or 6 years old the very first time that I was taken to a church. Now, we all know, especially in the hood and black community, at one time there was maybe one church per neighborhood, but now they're 3 and 4. Now they have mega churches. Now, that alone should tell you guys that given the history in this country, that something is wrong. Why would the very forces who are mentally and psychologically, metaphysically and spiritually deceiving and manipulating us be giving us all kind of incentives to go and be a part of these systems? Think. Stop and think, all right? So as a little boy, seeing through the eyes of not just being an open vessel, a born seer, but through the eyes of a child where we are pure. We have not been overwhelmed with vaccines that shuts down the consciousness, the DNA activation at this age. We are not overwhelmed with programs from the outside world. We are still closest to the spirit realm or the unseen realm, and so therefore we are more open and more pure. Here's why children imaginations are so at their best at around 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. At about 7, it's about, for the majority, things begin to really shut down. But for me, it did not happen exactly that way. So I was always still open. Now, having that out of the way, I remember being about 5 or 6 years old, my mother taking us to church, and there was a pastor. He's no longer with us. And I remember being a little boy and looking at this man and seeing him smiling and being friendly to people. But when I looked at him, I saw a very mean and ugly person. He was very mean to his wife. His wife was an angel. She was a sweetheart. And I get the duality why many couples come in, where I get the setup. That's a whole nother story. But his wife was an angel. She came here to help him to ascend on a soul level to become a better person. But she took a lot of abuse from that brother. A lot of abuse. He was very mean and cruel to her. And me being the eyes and the soul that I have, I saw this and I did not like it. And I remember thinking back then, why are so many people liking and trusting this man? This man is not nice. And then he would get behind the pulpit and he kept the focus on pain and suffering and death. And what's going to happen if you don't follow this? When you die, this and that is going to happen. And I remember thinking, that's not really true. Again, through the eyes of a child, pure open heart, and being a born seer who has not been completely shut down. So that's where it started. Then as I began to get older, I began to see this was not an exception. This was a rule with those who are supposedly men of God. I kept seeing these so-called men of God. I would see their secrets. I keep telling you guys, you keep thinking all this stuff coming out about these pastors and reverends raping, having sex with men, even though they're up there talking about how much God is against homosexuality. They're doing it. They're fornicating. They're having sex with men and women and children in the church. They're stealing from the church. Some of them are alcoholics. They're winos. They're doing all kinds of things that they're preaching against. But because they put on the image and most people are looking at them with no discernment, no sense of higher God, the real ultimate almighty God mind consciousness, they fool the people. They mislead and deceive the people time and time again. And I remember telling people, y'all don't see X, Y, and Z. Why? What's going on? Y'all can't tell that this guy's foul? But it was always me, oh, you can't accept it because the devil got you, and you must be gay, you just mad because he's calling out gay people, all this BS, all these deflection tactics. Now, one thing about me, everybody knows I've always been just what I am now. You either take me or leave me. If I want to wear makeup, ripped jeans, hair, see, I did not adhere to social norms, cultural norms from day one. I was always that dude. I would walk in the hood by myself, often by myself, looking as eccentric as I want to be. Wasn't about me trying to profess that I'm gay or anything like that. It was just that I expressed myself the way I felt comfortable, and I didn't give a damn about people's approval of it. Now, again, what I did was try to buy people to accept me the way I was, but even within that, the fact that I never felt the need to hide and pretend to be and act a certain kind of way and present myself in a way to get all these people that I clearly see are hiding all kind of fuckery and jacked up shit. See, you don't hide from me. Now, I've never been one of those who's judgmental, or I never called anyone out, but in my close circles, they'll tell you, I may say, if they're acting out of pocket, or I see them coming in on somebody and misleading someone, I will call it out, and without fail, the truth always come out, always come out. It always, just as we see now, with all of these people, not only in Christianity, but across the board, who put on these, who wear that image well, boy, with those images that we've been programmed and brainwashed to accept. It's trusting, but those same people out there teaching, training y'all to distrust somebody like me, I'm the real deal, and I'm not ego tripping. I know I am. My work speaks for itself. Go look at the videos and look at the history. And if you ever hear anyone the most you'll find is that someone try to say, oh, I scam people out of money, but you will dig deeper and find that straight up bullshit, and somebody who basically got mad because I wouldn't cater to them or let them just suck the life out of me, and I put boundaries on that. But you will never hear me raping, molesting nobody, me cheating anybody out their money, lying, deceiving, none of that. Hurting children, faking women, pretending to be one thing with women and doing something. I never did none of that. Now, by nature, I am a private person. I happen to be one of those people who truly feel that regardless of your sexual orientation, you should keep that private. Nobody should be out here flaunting sexuality and all this stuff, especially in the face of children, if you want to be honest. But even in that, I've just always been very private. But for the most part, I never really had no active sex life. I've done things, and I've been very open and transparent about what I've done. But I've been celibate for years, and it's pretty much been my whole life. I've had experiences, and if I have a moment where I want some intimacy or whatever, I will do it. And won't feel zero shit guilt about it, because I have that right, and I always do it within balance and within reason. And here's what I've always been encouraging and reminding people of far back as I can remember. So in the Christian circles, all the backstabbing, the lying, the two-facedness, and now I know this right here is a very sensitive topic, and I'm not slamming or trying to throw any of the sisters under the bus, but don't think I don't see the many Christian women and the men who conceived babies outside of their belief system and went and aborted the baby to hide. See, I see a lot. There's a curse. It's having the ability to see people, see what people hide. It's bittersweet. The sweet part is that because I can't see what people hide when they talk shit about me, because I see what they're hiding, it does not affect me. And I get why they do the deflection tactics and the things that they do. So it rolls right off my back because you see it for what it is. The bitter side is the ugliness that they carry around and they hide, and the cause and effect as a result of that. This is why I can get with a sister like Alberta Parrish, and I thank my sister for bringing this sister to when I saw her light. She's definitely one of me in her own respective lane. Okay? I saw her light. This is why I respect people like her, like I said, because she's real. She's giving you who she is. She's not sugarcoating. Alexis K. Tyler is another one. I totally respect her. She's giving you. She's not faking and pretending, and if she fuck up, or we fuck up, we'll let you know. We'll talk about it. We allow ourselves to be vulnerable. In the black community, I'm all kind of wrong, but I didn't give a rat's two ass, because I'm not here for dysfunctional black people's acceptance and blind, unconscious black people's acceptance, and I'm not here for white supremacists or white people who think they are superior to me bullshit either, because I had to teach a lot of them a few things about that as well. I don't play. I'm kind, I'm sweet, but I'm very clear on who I am, why I'm here, and what I'm doing. And so when brothers and sisters, we see the bullshit, we ain't going to just accept it just because the majority is going along with it. And here's why I never, ever accepted organized religion. Now, don't get me wrong. For young souls, new souls, organized religion is a very good tool to help them develop discipline, challenge them with discipline and focus, and learning to master the self, master energy, and most of all, master the mind. Because when this drops, what we take with us is our mind, our consciousness. We are just a sphere of consciousness, a ball of light. You think the higher ups are going to let you come up in those worlds and you haven't even mastered courage and strength and fortitude? down here when you think nobody is watching or they don't exist or there's nothing beyond it. There's another reason why they veil this stuff off, because you're never really going to be challenged in who and what you really are if you know for a fact as well. So that's the dichotomy of religion. On one hand, I can get why people believe there's no higher power, but I also get the other side why at some point we must mature and understand and master who and what that real higher power is. And when we begin to see that it's always been in self and the outer is just an extension of that, and we begin to get into our balanced state and elevate our mind and our consciousness, here is where you will see the ultimate almighty creator show up.